Hey everyone, so I did a reading on basically the future of humanity and where we are headed. So basically, 2026 is the year that I see things significantly changing and basically entering a whole new era of history. 2022, where we're at right now, I see it as a bubble. And it's like we're working through this bubble, untangling the collective karma of humanity, and also working through our own personal struggles. And so there's going to be, you know, a little bit of resistance for the collective and for the individual working through all this energy, which I see as a bubble, which is interesting because of the term, you know, popping someone's bubble. Because once we get through that, I see in 2023, this bubble isn't really there and the bubble has bursted, so to speak. And so things start to become more real. As far as things that were thought to be unreal start to become more tangible and more real. I also see this with a sharp increase of this advancement. I already see that happening for 2022, but I see it happening more so for 2023. And then moving into 2024, I see this learning curve go even more steep, and there's lots of fresh ideas coming to society. It's just like this very fresh type of energy of just like refreshing things and things that people thought impossible becoming real, and these new realities manifesting themselves more and more. Around 2025, I see we've gone through like this big peak and it's time to kind of rest, and I see that as the time that humanity takes a break from the steep learning curve, all this fast rapid advancement, and takes the time to allow this to integrate, which is important for the next part, because I see in 2026 there's an even bigger shift. I see this being like a very fundamental change, to call it the next level, if you want to think of it like that, to things that are just kind of unimaginable right now. Specifically, a change in ego, and what I mean by that is identity. I saw an image of someone, and then I saw like their aura, or whatever you want to call it, more like it was just them expanding to about approximately 13 times the size. So this is people becoming super conscious from where we are right now in 2022. It's like we're going to be growing that much. And these concepts that you hear in metaphysics and the New Age community, things of that nature, will become mainstream science. And so our understanding of the universe will just grow that much as a collective. Some people may be close to that already or halfway there, but as a collective, that's what I see happening. So this is leading us into a kind of futuristic sci-fi type of vision of the future that's really going to change the evolutionary direction, in my opinion, in the sense of culture, technology, and who knows, maybe it will have an effect on the physical appearance. I'm not saying that it will. I don't really specifically see that happening, but I feel like it's going to be such a drastic change that you could call it an evolutionary change. And people of the planet will work more so together. There'll be a more of a unification because, when there's a bigger problem, everybody kind of gets together and starts cooperating a little bit more. Not that this is a problem, but it requires cooperation. So this first leap and the integration period during 2025, when humanity takes a little bit of a break, is definitely necessary, because we're going to be expanding our sense of ourselves, who we are. Our identity will shift, and our current identities right now will be viewed as a very limited version of ourselves. And so allowing some time is necessary in order to continue on. So what I'm trying to say here is, from 2026 to around 2035, we'll be going through this fast increase again. And so you want to be kind of settled and ready for that. And then that'll go up. And around 2035, it'll go right up, and then it will slowly start decreasing more and more and more slowly. It won't be as abrupt as in 2025 where it's been going straight up and then it kind of just stops. This will be more of a gradual curve back to what you could call normal in 2035, which isn't going to really be normal, but it's going to be less of that steep learning curve coming at you. And in this time period, I'm seeing people being able to connect more with spirits and other life forms, and this becoming more normal. We may even need to redefine what we call living. Technology will go into the realm of energy densities and possibly dimensions and things more of that nature. Also see, again with the whole futuristic type of thing, people living on spaceships and also living on Earth as well, still. But I also see potential small operations on other planets, this being more so within the realm of businesses, people working and finding resources. And this is, closer to around 2035. However, from 2035 to 2045, I don't see it just flatlining. I do see it still increasing, but it's kind of just more at a steady pace. So it's, the learning curve is not this crazy, jagged, steep thing anymore. However, around 2045, I see that there could be something weird that goes on where there's almost like it goes down again. And I equate this to being a drop in technological advancement due to running into possibly a different species. And I don't see this as being necessarily negative, although initially when I was reading it, I thought it was a negative thing at first, but I'm not really so sure you could call it negative, although some may view it as negative. And I'll explain that later. But the saying that came to my mind was curiosity killed the cat, in reference to technology. But it's not so much curiosity, it's more like just the technology was going so fast it became kind of ran into a wall, so to speak. And so I get the sense that most people kind of go back in time, so to speak, back to where we were before a little bit, not entirely, but taken down a notch. Oops, sorry about that. I'll wait for that to stop beeping. So, anyways, this group of people, everybody goes back to Earth, but there's this small group of people who don't go back to Earth and they stay in ships, as crazy as that sounds, and are dependent on technology, and they may go to Earth occasionally, but I see other planets being involved here. So they kind of escape that notch back and they stay super advanced. However, I also get the sense that there's this kind of cold energy about them that's very technical. I don't mean cold as in like cold hearted, I just mean cold as in technical. I'll explain that a little better later. But, anyways, the Earth has more of this warm, peaceful energy, and I'm not talking about currently in 2022, I'm talking about in the future when all this happens. I'm seeing the Earth having more of this warm, peaceful type of energy, very motherly like, almost like a vibe of a mother, the Earth Mother, I guess you could say. And the term returning back to Earth or return to Earth comes to mind. But on many levels, this is literally and spiritually as well. So not just on a spiritual level, but also staying on Earth or coming back to Earth, however you want to look at it. I did get the sense that this group that broke off from the Earth is somewhat necessary on some level for safety or to kind of watch over Earth on some level. Like there's a like they're more integrated into like a bigger network of the universe that people on Earth don't know about at all. And it's like they're kind of managing the cosmos in some sense, or managing at least the Earth's relationship to the rest of the cosmos. And so they're like the ones in control, secretly behind the scenes to some degree. And I do get the sense that this is unknown to a lot of most of the information is unknown to the people on Earth. However, the people who are on Earth, who are in control of the Earth, they also have very little info about what's going on, or no info about what's going on up there from those people. However, somehow I see them being guided by them, or dictated by them, or controlled by them in some way. When I tune into this on more of a spiritual level or energy level, what I see is there is a spiritual agreement with the people returning back to Earth, or humanity as a whole, I guess you could say there's a spiritual agreement, for the purpose of spiritual growth. Because the Earth allows people to grow. The best way I can describe this is in the way that some parents may limit their child's access to certain technologies, may limit the time spent on their phone or computer or watching TV or whatever, so that they can do something else, maybe go outside, play with other kids, etc., etc. And the purpose of that is to allow them to develop and grow more as a person. And so, similarly, the spiritual agreement to kind of take down the notch of technological advancement allows people to come back to the simplicity of living on Earth and when I tuned into kind of why this is happening, I get the sense that the Earth energy is very fertile grounds for spiritual development, and this will be helping humanity learning respect within the unity of everyone, while simultaneously keeping our individuality and not becoming just a cog in the system, so to speak. Because the people who escape Earth and continue to have the advanced technology, I see them as being more of a cog or part of a system, or being completely enslaved or dedicated to their duty, and the technology at hand, in a sense that it's very militant. And so Earth, in contrast, is very warming and very heart opening, which is kind of hard to find elsewhere, is what I was getting. And that it's going to really open up the potential for humanity to develop more of their creativity and spiritual growth in general, which seems to be a big reason why people have, or spirits and souls have incarnated as human in the first place. So I'm not guaranteeing that everything is going to go exactly the way that I said, with the timelines, the same dates, and all that. This is, just a possibility. So don't, necessarily bet your life on this. This is a little speculative in nature. I do see things through energy, symbols, and I kind of translate those. So these may be more symbolic in some levels than literal. I can't really say for sure. This is what comes to me, though. So none of this is written in stone. Also, the future can change. The direction humanity is headed can be affected, just by focusing on it, and sometimes you can change the future just by thinking about the future. Regardless, as far as when I tune into it, this is where the energy is at right now and where we are headed, as far as I can tell. So I hope you like this video. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.